And welcome to the Technology Geek podcast. My name is Brandon, the Technology Geek, and we are here as we are every week to talk computers, the internet, ham radio, tech, and pretty much anything else that comes to my mind here on the Technology Geek. I do plan a little bit, but as you know, when things come to my head, I just have to talk about it. This is my outlet. So a lot of things going on, but before we do anything, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsors. They do a lot to take care of you. And as always, folks, you can support the show by joining our members club for $10. Once you join the members club, folks, you are a member for life. You get exclusive access to the forums, as well as you become a moderator as well right away. You also, too, folks, you'll get tons and tons of different sponsored discounts that you only get by joining the Tech Geek Club. And those people are, just to name a couple, Survival Strap, Mars Radio, Pro XPN, Man Great, Direct 21, Ready Made Resources, IT Pro TV, Alert USA, Performance Audio. There are our buddies over there, Performance Audio. Primal Power Methods, Safe Castle, all those guys. Let me tell you, just the Safe Castle one alone, for $49, he gives you a free membership, which is a $49 value for free, and you get discounts off everything. So just that one offer will give you your $10 back, and then some. Not to mention IT Pro TV, and he's giving you 25% off. 30% off. Ready Made Resources, Direct 21, they're giving you 5% off all your all their stuff on there, just tons of stuff. So, and it really is for $10, and you're a member. It's not like it's a reoccurring free. It's a one-time deal, and you go ahead and you keep the show up and you keep it free. By the way, folks, we just renewed. As you guys know, when we came back on the air, but 2 years ago, we were struggling with our audio, so we went ahead and we got a designated server. It's been $150 a year. We have to pay for Disney. Plus, our that doesn't include includes some bandwidth. We always go over, so we have a little bit of a bandwidth bill. But that just came up for renewal, the server, and as well as some the bandwidth overage and stuff. And there's a couple $100, but all that money that we paid for to keep the site up and running all came from you guys, the listeners. So and the viewers as well. On our YouTube channel stuff. We really, really appreciate that. And we couldn't have done it without you guys supporting the show, without your donations, and without donating to the show. So we renewed the server, so we're good for another year. So if you guys, like I said, if you guys that keep joining the club, your $10 will go to keeping the show up for next January when we have to go ahead and renew the server again. So we do very much appreciate that. Like I said, we don't take any money from the show. All the money you guys invest goes that you guys when you guys spend the $10 to join the club, all that money goes towards the server, the bandwidth, and all that kind of stuff. So we do very much appreciate that. And so like I said, we're good for another year, so you'll be hearing us for at least another year anyway. But like I said, thank you very much, folks, for keeping the server up so that we can keep giving you a podcast, and as well as hosting the video and putting it up on YouTube as well. So thank you very much for that. So a lot of things going on in the world of tech, as always, by the way. But a lot of other things going on. I did an AMA on Reddit Friday and Saturday. I did an AMA on Reddit. It's still open, by the way. Reddit, it's AMA, Ask Me Anything, and we talked about the Technology Geek. I got several questions. Got quite a bit of good feedback and stuff like that from you guys. A lot of great stuff, questions and all that, but it's still open. I'm going to include it in the show notes, and you can go ahead and it's still open. You can ask me anything. And we did an AMA already. Got a lot of power. So that's got a lot of traffic to the website. Got a lot of new listeners, as well as we have a lot of new listeners from our friends over there at the Survival Podcast. Those guys over there on the forums. If you guys ever want to talk to me, you can hang out. I'm always hanging out on the Survival Podcast forums. A really great group of guys over there. They've been helping me a lot. I got a lot going on right now. As you guys know, I bought about half an acre, quarter of an acre next to our house, and we've actually been looking into doing some, I don't want to say homesteading, because it is homesteading, but what we're going to do is, folks, we're going to go ahead and we are going to do some raised flower beds. We're looking to grow tomatoes, peppers, corn, and then too, I want to do herbs and stuff like that, all that. So we're looking at doing some raised flower beds and stuff. And those guys over there are really, really great. And that guy, and Jack Spirko over there at the Survival Podcast, he puts on a really good show. A lot of stuff about homesteading, Permio Ethos. He has a company called Permio Ethos, actually does consulting. Actually, let me raise the volume of the podcast up because I see it's still kind of low on the GarageBand. There we go. All right, so I hope you guys can hear me better now. He does a really wonderful show. They're talking about all different kinds of stuff, homesteading. He just does a wonderful survival prepper show. And I've been hanging out on the forums a lot, talking to those guys, getting feedback and stuff like that, and trying to figure out what's going, how to do this, what's the best way to do this. So I'm looking at probably doing some raised gardens and stuff like that. As soon as the summer hits, we're looking to probably do that project. But I joined, so I've been hanging out on those forums a lot. Those guys have been helping me out a great deal. He has a wonderful member support brigade as well. Jack Spirko over to Survival Podcast. He has a really wonderful member support brigade, better than ours is actually. Not that I don't want to join ours, but his is a little more expensive. It's like $50 a year. It's not a one-time $10 thing like we do. But again, you're getting a lot more for your money. Over there, he's got tons of videos on there, and just a wonderful, he's got ebooks, the exclusive ebooks on planting and growing and homesteading, and just a great show over there. If any of you guys are interested in that kind of stuff, he's a really great show over there. But so what I was looking at, I've been pricing stuff out, and I was looking at doing raised gardens with railroad ties and stuff like that, but or landscape ties even, and all those were pretty pricey. I found over the last couple of weeks. So what I just think about what I'm doing is I've been going to the local stores around, and I've been getting pallets. And what I'm thinking about doing is I'm going to create raised beds using pallets. So I can take a lot of pallets, probably maybe. I'm thinking probably if I do 10 around, because I'm going to do 8-foot long beds, and then a couple 8-foot long not trenches, but they're going to be like trenches. It's going to be they're going to be raised beds, but they can be about 8 foot long and a couple feet wide. So I'm going to need probably 40 or 50 pallets. I'm going to use them to do the raised beds, and obviously I'm going to plastic in there. And then I was going to go get bags of topsoil, but I found that it was actually cheaper using a local guy here. He actually goes ahead and he actually has, like I said, he actually goes, he sells, all that different kind of stuff, topsoil and all that kind of stuff. So I'm working with him right now to actually organize and see how much it's going to cost me to get all the supplies I need as far as topsoil and things of that nature. So I'm working on that. That's actually in the works right now. I've been working with that guy fairly closely, and he's going to actually go ahead and get me topsoil. And then I've been looking on Bob's Nursery. He's got a great website. I think it's bobsnursery.com. If you're part of Jack Spirko's member support brigade, you get a discount on his stuff. I'm going to order all my seeds and all types of stuff. And what's great about his seeds is they're good quality organic seeds. And he really is really great. And I'm going to actually go ahead and use him for my seeds and stuff like that. But I'm looking, like I said, to grow tomatoes, peppers, corn, peas. We're going to do peas. We're going to do herbs. We're going to do obviously all different types of herbs stuff. I'm looking at doing basil, parsley, all that kind of stuff, starting an herb garden over there as well. So it's going to be herbs and vegetables and stuff, and fruits maybe too. I'm looking at if the ground's good enough where I'm going to do it. I even want to actually go ahead and do some flower tree, some apple trees, and some other stuff as well. But the biggest predator around here because I live in the mountains of the Poconos up here, and our biggest threat around here is always our friends the deer. Deer are always a huge threat around here, and like I said, we're gonna hopefully do that. We're definitely doing it over the summer, but I'm actually looking at ways to keep the deer out, especially the apple trees, because apple trees seem to be quite a big thing with our friends the deer. So we're working on that right now. Just a lot of stuff, going on as far as, what we have going on here. But that's one of the projects that I'm looking into doing over the summer as well, is going to be that garden. And something I've wanted to do for a really long time, but we never actually had the room to do it. But now I actually have the space in the room to do it. So we're going to do it. But like I said, we're working on that right now. Like I said, the apple trees is something I know I got to get those in as soon as spring breaks, and I'm going to probably start working on this project as soon as spring breaks as well, because I want to get my plants in and all that before by the end of May. And I want to get I have to get my cucumbers in as well before May, so that's going to be a project. Right now, I'm looking at possibly doing like a liquid fence or something like that's called around it. A regular fence will probably work, but seeing a lot of problems with with regular fencing. So I'm seeing if liquid fence that would work. And then to irrigation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some PVC piping, and what I'm going to do is I have a well right next to it, next to the property. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the PVC piping and go ahead and probably what I'll do with the PVC pipe, I'll probably run a hose over there, and then I'll chain all the PVC pipes together, the main pipe, and then bury the pipes under bury the small pipes underneath the dirt, drill some holes in them for them. I can do is just turn the water on, and then it'll just go ahead and just water all my plants. That's actually the plan, to do some type of irrigation system to make things as easy and manageable as possible, which is always a good thing. Right now outside, if you couldn't plan you couldn't plan anything. I just got actually looking on the internet. Quite a few of the schools in our area are actually closed because of the colds and the wind chills. It's gonna be like -20 tomorrow morning. With that kind of cold with the wind chills, you could probably, you can get frostbite in minutes. So a lot of the schools and all that are closed right now. So that's kind of something that we're dealing with right now, the bitter cold. But again, we live in Pennsylvania. We're used to it. And you just got to learn to rough it out. But like I said, come the summertime, when the spring breaks, everybody obviously starts planting and all type of stuff, and we're going to start doing that as well. And also, too, one of the other things I'm looking at, I just got a CD in the mail the other day from, I thought I had it sitting here on my desk, but I don't. I actually got a CD in the mail the other day about canning. We're actually going to probably take some of the, we're looking at, like I said, we're going to look at possibly doing cucumbers and all that, peppers, stuff that we're actually going to look at possibly canning that stuff, so we have it over the winter and we can create our own deep pantry and start being more self-reliant. One, to save money, but two, it's kind of a fun project, something I just really like to do. I've always been an outdoorsman, as you guys know, that listen to the show every week. I'm a big outdoorsman, fisherman, hunter, all that stuff. That's one of the reasons why I live in the mountains of Pennsylvania, because I love the outdoors, and I think the Pennsylvania mountains are some of the most beautiful areas in the world. But like I said, we have we're going to be doing that. That's a big project we have going on right now here at we'll call it the Technology Geek Homestead, the compound, whatever we call it. But like I said, we have that going on right now. But right now you can't even go outside because it's that cold out, which I like the cold weather, but this is just a little bit too cold for me. So like I said, folks, we got a lot of stuff, a lot of news going on. And now that I talked about what we got going on here, a lot of news going on in the tech world, as there always is. But first and foremost, I do want to say one thing. Though any of you guys that like that show, The Office, they have that Silicon Valley show coming on HBO. That starts up about 6 weeks. So check your DVRs, make sure it's set to roll. But that's coming up as well very, very soon. Silicon Valley is actually a really good show. I actually started watching I actually watched all the first season on HBO Go. It actually is a really good show. You definitely should watch it. Some other things too that's on the internet that you should definitely watch. Obviously, next week is going to, I believe it's next week, the week after, is going to go ahead and debut House of Cards on Netflix. That's huge right now, and as well as Amazon Prime debuted this past week. Obviously, Bosch, and those of you that don't know what Bosch is, it's a book. It's actually a book series by Michael Connell. It's actually based on his book series. Michael Connelly is a phenomenal author. I've read, I think, every one of his books, and now they're turning his books into a series on Amazon Prime called Bosch. I have not watched any of it yet. I just got caught up on Justified the other day, and I do like cop shows, so I'm going to go ahead and definitely check that out. I have read probably every novel that Michael Connell has ever done. He's a phenomenal author. I unfortunately have never gotten the opportunity to meet him. I would love to. The every Lincoln Lawyer book was better than the one before it. If those of you guys haven't seen Lincoln Lawyer, it was made into a movie as well, with what the heck is his name? I don't remember his name, the actor off the top of my head. It'll come to me. He was in Interstellar. But he was made into, the Lincoln Lawyer was made into a book, and now they're actually even making the Lincoln Lawyer into a series now as well. So, it really is he's a wonderful author. I mean, every book I ever read from him, he just keeps you on your edge of your seat. A really great author. And if you haven't, check it out. It's Bosch on Amazon Prime. If you don't have Amazon Prime, it's I think it's like $100 a year, and you get all the movies you'd get on Netflix and all exclusive series. We have both, because my wife has Amazon Prime and I have Netflix, so we split the bill like that, but the cable bill like that. But it really is a wonderful show. Go ahead. I have not watched it yet, but let me tell you, if it's anything like his books, it'll be phenomenal. Like I said, I will start watching it very, very soon. I will probably dip into it. Well, Sunday's a tough night, because we got Broken Skull Ranch Challenge at 8, and then we got Walking Dead at 9. But maybe I can watch it after that. We'll see. I want to try to sneak in an episode of Bosch tonight. But wonderful. It's a wonderful show. I wish I could have Michael Connell on the program. But he's a busy guy. I know he is. But with Bosch now on Amazon Prime, he's going to be even busier. But it really, every one of his books was better than the one before. If you've never seen it, to take the time. Even if you just, I like the Lincoln Lawyer series a little better than I like Bosch, but both were great. But Bosch, like I said, on Amazon Prime, take the time, watch it. Like I said, I haven't watched it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be great. Like I said, tonight's a tough night, because we got a lot. Tonight's a really good. Sunday's a good TV night. Monday's pretty good too. We got Raw on, so I watched that. But Monday night's got Gotham on too, which is a good TV night. Tuesday, well, Justified's almost over. Justified's on its last season, but Tuesday night's usually a night I catch up on, and Wednesday nights as well. Well, Tuesday night's The Flash, and then then I watch Justified, and Wednesday night's Arrow. Thursday night, obviously, is going to start. Well, Thursday night's tough. Thursday night's a good TV night too, because you got 2.5 Men, but that's going to be over next week. But you got 2.5 Men, The Blacklist, which if you never watched The Blacklist, you're missing out, by the way. And then as well, what else do we watch Thursday? Oh, don't forget, you got Pawn Stars 2 on Monday nights. But what else do we watch Thursday night? Usually that DVR is moving. Trying to think what else we watched. 2.5 Men. And there's something else we have DVRing on Thursdays, but I don't remember what it is. Friday, obviously, you have Shark Tank, Last Man Standing. Those are 2 good shows. Saturday night, there's not really a whole lot on it. It's usually Saturday and Sunday. Saturday night and Sunday morning is usually catch-up time for me. So speaking of TV, and we'll get right into the news segment here. But speaking of TV, how about Jon Stewart leaving the Daily Show, huh? That's actually huge. I'm not sure exactly where my wife is going to get her news from now, if not for Jon Stewart. But that's pretty much that's news, man. Jon Stewart, obviously, a television icon, obviously on Comedy Central, but Stephen Colbert obviously going to be taking over David Letterman's spot. Now Jon Stewart leaving. Obviously, a couple of people from Jon Stewart's crew went over to HBO now. So that's news, man. I'm curious to see what he's gonna do. John Oliver's over at HBO. Bill Maher's over at HBO. Now you have Colbert going over the Tonight Show. So I'd be curious to see what he's going to do now that all his buddies are leaving. But he's leaving. That's really sad. And I like Jon Stewart. He's a lot of fun. And he got most of those guys their start. So he's been on that show. They said that he brought that show up, like the ratings-wise, he brought it up like 400% when he took it over in 98, 99. So good for him, man. I'm sure he'll land on his feet. But so Linus Torvalds, if you don't know who he is, you should. He is the creator of Linux. He actually did a poll the other day on Google Plus. Linus made a post about the Linux versions numbering. He asked, so I made noise some time ago about how I don't want another 2.6.39 where the numbers are big enough that you can't really distinguish them. We're slowly getting up there again, with 3.20 being imminent. and once again close to running out of fingers and toes. I was making noise about just moving it to 4.0 some time ago, but let's see what people think. Continue to v 3.20, becoming bigger numbers. Bigger numbers are more sexy, he says. But curious what you guys think. So in a Google Plus post, he actually went ahead and asked everybody what they thought of his what the numbering should be, and you could vote. You know, and so far 4.0, because I get confused easily, is winning for 56%. So you know, Linus is always good for stuff like that. But yeah, that was in the news. That was actually on Slashdot and on Linus's Google Plus. As always, all the stuff, folks. If anybody that doesn't know, all the stuff goes in the show notes after I'm done with the show. So if you're trying to look for Google it or something like that, you can go ahead and find it a little later. So Facebook adds legacy contact features in case you die before it does. Well, pretty much what this means, folks, it's going to actually allow you an option for users to delegate management of their account when they die. That's pretty much what it's for. And this has actually been, believe it or not, I actually did some research on this actually the other day. I didn't realize how much of an issue this actually was. Apparently, it's actually a pretty darn big issue. A lot of people actually get really, really upset when they can't go ahead and take down people that have passed away pages. I didn't realize a lot of times when people die, a lot of people will log into their Facebook accounts and actually turn them into memorial pages, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But Facebook actually added a feature now to actually allow that to be done natively, because I guess that was a hot issue apparently the other day. So according to this has been an ongoing thing that people have been asking for. I had no clue about it, by the way. This is the first time Facebook was forced to put something into action. As you know, as users have died, people wanted their Facebook page to be taken down or changed over. So a year ago, the social network outlined an approach to this. So that's actually done now, which I really didn't realize how much of a hot issue that was. But after doing some research on the internet, I found that was quite an issue that people were dealing with. But Facebook took care of that now, so we're good. LinkedIn restricts API usage. That was in the news as well. I was actually I don't go on LinkedIn a whole lot, but I was on it the other day, and they had made the announcement. Obviously, it was on Slashdot, Mashable, all the big news outlets for tech news. But LinkedIn is restricting access to most of its applications programming API to companies that have struck up partnerships with the social network company. Over the past several years, they've seen some exciting applications from other development community, while many developers value back to our members in LinkedIn. Not all have, wrote Adam Transberg, director of LinkedIn Developer Network, explained in a blog post the changes to the company's API policy starting May 12th. LinkedIn will only offer a handful of APIs for general use, namely those that allow users to companies to post information about themselves on the services. After then, only companies that have enrolled in LinkedIn's partner program will have access to APIs. Samsung, WeChat, and Evernote have already struck such partnerships. Currently, social network service offers a wide range of APIs which allow third-party companies to draw content from and place content info. LinkedIn APIs have been seen as an additional channel for businesses to interact with their users and partners. A few companies, however, recently scaled back APIs to only allow access to certain people. Netflix shut down its public API channel in November. That was big news when that happened, by the way. A lot of apps stopped working when that happened. I remember that. ESPN also disabled their public APIs. I remember when that happened. That was it. That was huge. LinkedIn's move is evidence of how businesses use APIs are involved, and very important that the APIs are available but are used by reputable companies. I got to agree with that. That's actually a big one, and I'll tell you why, folks. Because you get a lot of these companies that use APIs to reverse engineer things, and can really cause problems for people. So doing this really helps quite a bit, and I do actually agree with it. So live patching now available for Linux. By the way, we're actually talking about Linux. We should actually link this over. I should have did a smoother transition over from this Linux patch, but There's actually you may never have to reboot your Linux machine again, even for kernel patching. Experts from long time describe newly merged kernel code that actually allows your Linux system to offer live updating for a Linux system, no downtime required. But apparently this is news. This came out about from Oracle. Oracle apparently now is trying to actually go ahead and provide live patching for Linux machines. So that's news. Oracle's always been really big with Linux and stuff, so that's unsurprising that they're trying to put something like that out. So U.S. gas pumps hacked by anonymous tagline. That was in the news as well, folks. Researchers from 10 Micro uncovered a gas pump in the United States whose ID was changed from Diesel to We Are Legion, the call sign for anonymous hacker group, following a follow-up recent reveal regarding vulnerability of gas pump systems to online attackers. The researchers found 1,515 completely unprotected gas pumps. Gas pumps have always been vulnerable to things, to hacks all the time. There was a in the local paper up here, probably maybe 6-8 months ago, maybe a little more than that. I might even have the. If you look through our blog, folks, on the site, you'll see it. What had happened is this was a little different, but what happened is people were using card readers that were Bluetooth to get people's cards. People were setting up things to take pictures of people putting in their cards and punching in their codes and stuff. So this is new. That gas pumps can be hacked through the internet, but not new in the sense that gas pumps have always been vulnerable to some kind of attack. Microsoft obviously fixing critical remotely exploitable Windows root level design bug. That's coming up in this month's Patch Tuesday. Microsoft has released 9 security bulletin addressing 59 unique vulnerabilities. And we just talked about recently, remember how Microsoft's not going to release the vulnerabilities on the Thursday before Patch Tuesday. Which I agreed with, by the way, but again, it's Microsoft now releasing more critical remote root level code problems. So that was in the news as well. A lot of these vulnerabilities exist in Microsoft Windows, Office, Internet Explorer, and other Microsoft server software. Again, this is all released and stuff like that. One of the 9 security bulletins, 3 were related to critical insecurity, and among these 3, one that addresses a year-old design flaw. So that was in the news as well. So I don't know if anybody here, if anybody that listens has a drone. I don't have one. I think they'd be cool to have, but not in the budget. But some of the other projects I was just telling you about. But along with that, apparently there's a noflyzone.org. It's a website designed, if you don't want the air above your house to be a fly zone, you can actually submit your address to this site, and it will actually make your area above your house a no-fly zone. So I thought that was kind of cool. Some of these folks, it was neat, and they put this on somebody put this on our Facebook, or it actually sent it to us via Facebook, and I think it is kind of cool, folks. Somebody had wrote an issue that I thought was kind of neat. They were talking about how all those people that make odometers that when you walk they measure your foot trackers. They were joking. They said as long as you have a smartphone, you don't need one anymore, because any good fitness. Obviously your iPhone now tracks your steps, and as long as you have a good app, it'll tell you. They have so many free apps out there to count your steps. So somebody had asked me that, and I know we're not to our question and answer segment just yet, but somebody had asked, if you have a smartphone, do you need to count steps? And the answer is I don't think so, because why would you need something to count your steps when you have a smartphone? I don't know why you I don't really know. I'm trying to think of a reason you would need it, but I don't think you do. I mean, if you have a smartphone, what would you need? What would you need an odometer for? I don't really understand. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, I can see the use of one if you're jogging, like in a marathon, and you don't want to keep your phone because you're afraid to fall. I can see people still using it for that, but that's few and far between. I don't really understand. I agree with you on that one. Something that was in the local well, in the local news, but as well as maybe the national news. Obviously, there's a group of paramedics actually used Google Translate while delivering a baby. They were somebody went into labor and they were trying to talk her through it, and they weren't able to talk her through it. So they actually used Google Translate to do English to Swahili. So that was in the news. I thought that was kind of tech related. It shows how technology has really changed. I remember when I was actually going to Europe when I was a kid. I remember having to buy an English to German translator for when I went over to Germany. I did speak fairly good German, but there were times where I needed it because I couldn't understand the dialects. But yeah, it's kind of neat how now we have just translate right on our phone. But years ago you actually have to go ahead and actually buy a translator. So that's kind of neat. So BitTorrent actually now announcing exclusive partnership with Rapid Eye Studios to launch BitTorrent TV. And these are actually going to be original BitTorrent shows, and it looks like BitTorrent originals will be timed exclusive, and meaning they will debut on BitTorrent exclusively. For 30 to 60 days. After BitTorrent exclusivity would close, each project will be available through online distribution, obviously Netflix, Amazon, stuff like that. But that's actually news as well that BitTorrent wants to start getting the exclusive content business. So Daybreak Games, formerly Sony Online Entertainment, obviously layoffs are going to start there. Unfortunately, all those people are going to lose their job. I feel bad for them. I hope all of them do find jobs. Nobody likes to see anybody lose their job, especially with this wacky economy. But that was in the news as well that there's actually some layoffs going on now with that. So, a lot of these companies. These game companies, a lot of things with game companies are really tough because one good game could make or break the company. So, but like I said, they actually go ahead and some of the notable layoffs are David Gorgeson, which I didn't know him too much. I didn't know a lot about this, but from reading the article, he was responsible for EverQuest and stuff like that, and so he's one of them as well as somebody else. So layoffs begin there. Again, Daybreak Games, obviously formerly Sony Online Entertainment. Like I said, unfortunately, they're going to have some layoffs. So, like I said, we wish all those people the best. Hopefully, they get their jobs. So, Firefox, actually, talking about the internet and stuff like that. In a recent blog post, Mozilla announced that its intention to require extension to be signed in Firefox without any possible user override. This is actually pretty big for them because Firefox has always been open, and I think at times it's been a little too open at times, and I think this is going to be really good because it's going to, I think, add a level of security because they have had, Mozilla has had issues with bad add-ons as well as Google has as well. So that making people actually get them signed, I think will be a very good thing for security-wise. There was an article as well, folks, talking about how Java code is how with modern-day coding, it's very. They say Java code mostly a lot of fluff. New research finds. I don't know about that. Java is. They say about 5% of written Java code compares to code functionality compared to new code. I don't know about that. Comparing something that's written in Java to comparing something that's written in Python or HTML5, I do think that, with all the insecurities of it that Java's had, it's kind of been a pain. I know a lot of Chromebooks and stuff like that don't even allow Java natively because of security issues, stuff like that. But I think that, as long as Oracle owns Java, and as long as HP and Symantec and all those guys keep making Java-based tools for all their enterprise solutions, Java's not going anywhere. I know a lot of companies are moving over to Python and HTML5, trying to get away from Java and stuff like that. But I definitely don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. But with all the insecurity stuff that's had, it is becoming less and less used. And I think part of the reason why there is all security problems is because, with Java code, there is a lot of fluff and some of that in the way that code has to be written. But I'd be curious to see what actually, because for in order for Java to go away, that would require a lot of companies rewriting a lot of their tools and that. And I think it will happen, but it's just going to take time. and the company's willing to get away from that. And the way HP and Symantec are tight with Oracle, I don't know if that's really ever going to happen, but we'll see what happens. But Java does have a lot of insecurities, and I think it's because of that fluff. Like I said, a lot of Chromebooks and stuff won't even run Java. And if you remember when the iPad first came out, didn't even support Flash. I remember that big uproar. And the same thing with the Chromebooks. A lot of people that buy Chromebooks say, hey, none of my Java apps work. Well, yeah, they don't, because it's a Chromebook. Chrome doesn't allow that. Chrome has built-in Flash support, but doesn't have built-in Java support. So I'd be curious to see what happens with Java in the next couple of years. That would be something we'll be finding, keeping an eye on. By the way, folks, relating to Geek, by the way, neat news. Apparently, Sony actually has sold the rights to the Spider-Man franchise to Marvel Studios, which is owned obviously by Disney. But that's kind of neat because that was something that a lot of people have been saying. Why have we never not seen a we've never seen a Spider-Man movie where it's tied in with any of the other movies, like the Avengers and all that are all tied in, but we've never actually seen a movie tied in with we've never seen a Spider-Man tie in any of these new movies coming out, but now I believe we will. So I'll be curious to see what happens with that. I'd be curious to see if they're going to throw him into. I mean, Spider-Man was always pretty big with the Fantastic Four, and we do have the new Fantastic Four movie coming out. I don't know if they'll be in that, but I would be neat to see if something they do something with that. If he would, he was always involved with the Fantastic Four, so I'd be neat to see what they do something with that. So that pretty much completes our news segment. Now over to our news segment, like they do in the local news. But one of the things, folks, I do want to say, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, I was talking about our support, our Geek Club, which is $10. And once you pay that $10, you're in the club for life. And we're always adding new sponsors. And one of the things I did get an email from a company called Iron Edison Battery Company. They're a battery company. They deal with batteries for your home, batteries for your ham radio, and all type of stuff. And they're actually looking to join our Geek Club. And by the way, folks, once you join the Geek Club, what I do is I take your email and I put it in our email group. We use Google Groups, and what we add your email, and it's only for you guys, the people that have donated to us. And what we actually do is when we get a new sponsor like this, I actually email out the code, and I'll email out the new code and the new link and all that type of stuff, so you can go ahead and get your membership. Your membership. We have one guy a friend of mine. He was one of our first guys to ever donate to this. And when we added a couple of people, probably at the end of the year, and I sent out an email, and he said to me, he goes, "Man, we're 2 years later, you're still adding, people to the Geek Club, and I'm still getting updates. And I paid you $10 how many years ago?" He ended up donating another $10 to me just because he felt bad. But like I said, once you join, I know a lot of people say, well, after I give you $10, what if you add more sponsors? If you add more sponsors, you will get those sponsors, in addition to. It's not like saying, okay, well, you only get the sponsors that are there at the time you join. As long as you keep that old email address that you signed up with, you'll always get information on, new things coming out, new people that we add to the Geek Club. So just so you guys know that. But like I said, that's what really allows us to keep doing this. So we do appreciate that. So as always, folks, you send in your questions and I give you my answers. Obviously, if any questions you have, the email is lapaniTech@gmail.com. And obviously, if you go to our website, and click under podcast, there's the Ask a Question. It gives you the email address. And folks, we even have a voicemail box. Well, some people have had trouble with the email. I'm not sure why, but if you have a problem and you really want to ask that question, call in. And one thing that's really great, folks, about the voicemail box is you call and leave me a voicemail. I'll play the voicemail right here on the air. We played one of probably maybe a couple weeks back. We played a voicemail. Somebody called in, that were, they just wanted to give us props for how great the show was, and I played it right on the air. So we do appreciate all that. The only rule I have, folks, is just if you do call into the voicemail box and want to tell us how great the show is, or if you have a question or comment, we'll play it in the air. Just please no bad language, because we do try to keep the show PG so that everybody can listen to it. One of the questions we have, and we always get questions here. Somebody said, "What infrastructure do I need to podcast?" You need a microphone. If you have a Mac, you have GarageBand. If not, you have Audacity. You can use. I prefer GarageBand myself. And the funny thing is, if you really wanted to go to the next level, you can go, Google Hangouts, and you can download the audio from there. I just learned that not too long ago. You can actually download the audio from Google Hangouts as well. So, you just need a microphone, something to record. When you get a little further into it, maybe you might want to get a mixing board or something. Like I said, you can use Google, and even that, years ago you'd have to use Skype and get the audio from Skype. Now Google Hangouts, you can. It makes it a lot easier than it did a couple years ago. Up to a couple years ago for Google Hangouts, doing, guests audio on podcasts was tough, but it's getting much better. But like I said, all you really need is a microphone and just a computer and just and some time and just I told somebody the other day, somebody asked me the other day, well, I don't have money for hosting. And I said, well, then use it, get a free Blogger account and host your podcast on Blogger. And all you need is something that gives you an RSS feed. I mean, you can use, Dropbox and a Blogger account, and you can host the podcast nowadays. So it's actually really cool. Like I said, we have our own hosting, and the reason for that is just because the amount of bandwidth we do, it's not proper English, but the amount of bandwidth we use, we like a designated server. Plus, two, we also host video and stuff like that as well. So, but that's all you really need: a microphone and just some time to set up your hosting, and that's about it. One question I did give somebody the other day is they asked me, is Trend Micro any good? I'm an AVG guy. AVG is not a sponsor of the show. I know a lot of people ask, well, is AVG a sponsor? They're not. They should be. I could reach out to them for our club and see if I can get somebody to join, but they probably would. But Trend Micro, it is a really, really good product. I like it. It's just like with anything, you have to have some kind of antivirus. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be, any type of antivirus. It doesn't matter what it is. Just have an antivirus. Trend, AVG. If you want to go Norton, Symantec, you can, McAfee, even, as long as you have some type of antivirus in your computer. Trend's good. I like Trend. I've seen a lot of good things with Trend. I've seen a lot of good things with AVG. I've seen a lot of good things. I've seen people that have Norton that they swear by it. I see other people that hate it. I like Trend. I think it's really good. Kaspersky's really good. There's a lot of good ones out there. So this is a question from somebody that I was talking to the other day on Twitter. They asked me, I know you bow hunt. What kind of bow do you actually use? This is actually kind of more of a personal question than a tech question. But so I use a PSE bow when I go bow hunting. As you guys know, I'm sure I've talked about it many times on the show. I'm a huge fan of bow hunting. I love to bow hunt. I don't gun hunt. And the only reason why I don't gun hunt is because usually by the end of the season, by the end of bow season, I have my buck or my deer. Like I said, we hunt because we like to pack our freezer. But but I like PSE. I was a fan of Hoyt for a while, but my only problem with Hoyt is Hoyt's really heavy. I find PSE's lighter, easier to carry through the woods and stuff like that. So I prefer PSE myself. But again, that's completely a personal preference. I find PSEs to be a little cheaper than Hoyt as well. PSE's been around. Like I said, I really like it and really enjoy it. I know I was talking to somebody in the Survival Podcast forums the other day, and they were telling me they're actually looking to try to create their own bow. That's really well and good. That's a real skill and a talent. And I give that guy a lot of credit for even trying. But like I said, I prefer a PSC, preferably PSC. Hoyt's good too, but this is my personal preference has been PSC. Like I said, I'm a diehard bow hunter, so I'm very picky about my bow, and PSC seems to really work well for me. By the way, folks, the one thing I want to say, folks, and I've talked many times before on the show, if you're ever going to buy a used, don't ever buy a used bow. I see guys all the time say, oh, I'm going to sell you my bow. Well, if you have somebody that's let a bow sit in their house for 2, 3, 4 years and never done anything with the string, the first thing you pull it'll snap and hurt you. So don't ever buy a used bow. If you're ever going to buy a bow, always buy brand new. So one of the things somebody else had asked me as well, somebody said, well, why can't I see my security cameras when I'm outside my house, but I'm inside my house? I can. There's a good reason for that. It's probably, I'm going to say 99.9%, I'm pretty sure, either you're going to need to know your outside IP when you're outside the house, and you're going to need to open that port up on your firewall. Most most camera systems use port 7000, and you open it up, and you have to know your public IP. And you should be able to access your camera system. You're gonna have to make a NAT in your router, depending if it's D-Link or NEC or D-Link or NEC. You're probably gonna have to, or whatever it is, you're gonna have to NAT it in. The odds of change your cable company probably isn't gonna help you with that. You're probably gonna have to figure it out yourself, or have somebody that knows what they're doing do it for you. But that's probably what you're gonna have to do. And like I said, that's actually, you know, I'm almost guaranteed. If you can see in your house, probably because you're in your wireless when you're in your house. When you're not in your house, obviously you're not on your wireless. That's probably why. So, like I said, you're gonna have to open it up, and then you should be good after that. So that only had a couple of questions this week. Like I said, folks, a lot of questions are coming in via the AMA that's going on as well, by the way. So if you guys want to get in and ask me questions, go ahead and ask me questions on the AMA. I'll include it with the show notes as well. By the way, folks, we also, just so you know, next week we're trying to line up a guest for next week from Medicine Shack. They're a great podcast. They're actually live. They go live tonight at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. They do a really wonderful show, and they really are a really great show. And like I said, they're just really a really nice guy. I talked to him. He was going to come on today, but he had some other things going on. But we're going to hopefully get them on next week. And that's the Medical Shack. He's going to try to talk about ham radio go kits and what medical supplies you should have in them. And it should be actually a really, really good show. So please tune in next week for that. So I want to thank everybody for listening, and we will see you next week. Thank you very much.